It is such an honor to be in the city that proved to all that when people link arms, even walls can fall. And Berlin, I think, is a perfect place to talk about the role of AI, because here, the lesson of '89 is very simple. When people co-create, we outperform any master plan. Now, I wish to share my thoughts on how we move AI from addictive intelligence to assistive intelligence. I want to ask you to help me to move from extractive platforms to protocols to foster relational health. And I propose the most important frontier model is not found in a lab somewhere. It is us, our augmented collective intelligence, we the people. When I was 5, a life-threatening heart condition taught me urgency. Doctors told me that I only have a 50% chance to survive until heart surgery. After that, every night felt like a coin flip. So I adopted a mantra that I call publish before I perish. So I record everything that I learned every day, and I discovered something profound. Publishing on the internet, if it's perfection, it only invites applause. But imperfection invites participation. Our cracks are opening for collaboration, as Leonard Cohen sang. There's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. And for democracies, that is key. We must publish our process, not just our final policy. We must publish the how and the why, so people can see them and turning critiques into co-creators. Now, the dominant logic of AI today in our digital age is not that. It is what I call the Max OS, not the Apple Mac OS, Max OS. It maximizes engagement. It maximizes watch time, clicks, and it creates a parasitic recommendation engine, engagement through enragement. And the result for the past decade is very high ppm online. And I don't mean parts per million CO2, although that's very important. I mean polarization per minute. So 10 years of engagement through enragement morphed our social feeds into adrenaline factories. It rewarded extremes. It muted the nuance. And the environment of fractured trust is exactly what authoritarians around the world exploit. And now adding generative AI to the mix, and we're spinning ever faster with slop, content with zero relational nutrition. So the question here in this spinning wheel is not whether we should accelerate AI or stop AI. It is who should steer that spinning wheel. Because right now, people talk about human in the loop. But human in the loop of AI is like hamster in a hamster wheel. Maybe feeling great, exercising, but there's no steering at all. We need to move AI into the loop of humanity. And what does that mean? Concretely, it means that we take control of the steering wheel together. We use AI as assistive intelligence to help to find the overlap that turn conflict not into explosion like volcanic energy, but magma into geothermal energy. That for powerful co-creation, we can maximize the relational health. And once we accomplish this together, we can free the future together. So concretely, this is what we did in Taiwan. In Taiwan, we know about pressure. Pressure makes diamonds. We're the #1 target for polarization attacks worldwide for the past 12 years, according to VDEM. But we adapted. We learned to replace anti-social media dynamic with pro-social architecture. We understand that quote, tweet, or dunk is the source of polarization. And so we build systems where it's not possible to dunk on anyone, but rather we only make viral the statements that are not the extremes, but bridges between the left and the right, what we call the uncommon ground at the heart of the Taiwan model. So 10 years ago, when ride-sharing, Uber, came to Taiwan, it triggered intense conflict in various segments in our society. But we use polis as a bridging system to map where the people actually agreed, like a group selfie. And in just 3 weeks, we turned the conflict into policy options that everybody could live with, not the left wing, not the right wing, the up wing consensus. And today, that algorithm is already widely used around the world as community nodes. And last year, when we faced a new threat from deepfake scam online, many people saw Jensen Huang, the Taiwanese NVIDIA CEO's face. If you click it, Jensen wants to give you free cryptocurrency or some investment advice. Of course, it's not Jensen. It's a deepfake of him running on NVIDIA GPU. However, the people in Taiwan, if you poll them individually, they're all like, oh, the government should stay away from censoring the internet because after all, as Dr. Tsai Ing-wen, my president, said, we're the most free in all of Asia when it comes to internet freedom. So what to do? We sent 200,000 text messages to random numbers around Taiwan, asking for a citizen assembly to deliberate the idea. So 447 people randomly selected, representing the same demographic as the Taiwanese population, in rooms of 10, facilitated by an AI. We say to them, those 45 rooms, you have to come up with ideas that resonate with the other 9 people in that video room in order for it to be considered. So one room said, let's label all advertisement probably scam until it's digitally signed off by somebody. Another room said, if somebody lost 7 million to investment scam that's not signed, let's make them fully liable by Facebook. So Facebook have to pay that $7 million damage if it runs unsigned advertisement. Very good idea. Another room said TikTok at the time did not have a Taiwan office if they ignore our rules. Every day they ignore our rules. Let's slow down connection to their video by 1%, but not censoring them. So basically, those ideas gets woven together by a language model, a small language model, at the end of the day. And everybody voted on it. So those 447 people, more than 85%, regardless of demographics, agreed. And the other 15% can live with it, consider it quite legitimate. That was last March. And by May, we passed the Amendment on Digital Signature Act. By July, we passed the anti-fraud law. And this year, the deepfake scams are not there anymore. No advertisement for fraud is down by more than 90%. So here, Berlin built bridges, and Europe promotes interoperability and portability, also bridges. And the spirit that today already enable to exit a instant message app with your data, your social graph, just like you keep your phone number when you change your carriers. This is freedom architecture. So we must safeguard freedom of movement online by resisting digital colonialism, the way that Taiwan resisted the deepfake ads or Uber 10 years ago and last year. And policy is catching up fast. Now we understand the platforms online are places too. The EU Data Act gave us data portability. The Digital Markets Act, interoperability. So now let us extend that spirit. We need protocols of freedom for movement, association, deliberation, safety. Think of them as public road and bridge and parks, not private walled garden. Because when an exit is real, then the platform must compete on care, not on capture. In the upcoming panel, we'll talk about digital resilience for all, but it's suffice to say that authoritarian playbooks are global. The spyware, troll farms, transnational repression we just heard about. Our response then cannot just be the local takedowns after the harm is done. We have to be pre-bunking. We have to make architecture safe by design. We need selective disclosure, verifying any part of our credential that is relevant, like I'm over 18 or ich bin ein Berliner, without revealing our full identity, no doxing. We need edge AI, smart defenders that runs on our devices, safeguarding our community without surveillance, without pinging home. We need to bring our own policy. Our local safety rules and deliberation norms need to travel with us across the web. And such an approach is critical in rolling back on transnational repression. We can use AI to detect harassment, but we must let each community decide the code of conduct that make the final judgment. Nothing about us without us must be the principle of our freedom architecture. Now, forging stronger democracies is never easy. We need to see the process as working out in a civic gym with a care loop. And in Oxford, I'm developing the six-pack of care with 6 basic moves. Listen to people, keep promises, invest the people in the process, verify the results together. Win-win as possible and as local as possible. And we can train AI agents this way, beyond maximizing a score or just following some thin rules. This is called relational alignment. We align with the process of care. Because if we delegate democracy and policy to chatbots for debate, that would be like sending our robots to the gym to lift the weights for us. I'm sure it's very impressive. They can lift a lot. But our civic muscle will atrophy. So the superintelligence we need is not a machine. It is our capacity to coordinate with care. We, the people, are the superintelligence. And when we see Internet of Things, let's make it an Internet of beings. When we see machine learning, let's make it collaborative learning. When we see virtual reality, let's make it a shared reality. When we see user experience, let's make it about human experience. And whenever we hear that the singularity is near, let us always remember the plurality is here. Thank you.